Thank you, Andrew, and of course, Terry as well, for all you are doing for Yeshiva University, the preservation of Rabbi Sacks' legacy, the future of the Jewish community, and of course, our beloved students. You are role models and friends to all of us. Good morning. I am Aliza Abrams Konig. And as Andrew referenced, we just ran a very successful mission to Vienna, and I would like to share a little bit about the planning process because it essentially happened overnight. During times of war or natural disaster, we often find ourselves feeling helpless and thinking, if only I could do something. When the invasion of Ukraine began, I was consumed with that exact feeling. I have been privileged to run 3 student service missions on behalf of Yeshiva University to Ukraine over the last number of years. Now, I was worrying about my friends living in Kharkov and the children we played with in the Jewish orphanages in Odessa. Our trips were always about spending time with the youth of the Jewish communities and volunteering with the elderly. The Hillel of Kharkov, where I have spent many hours, is now a bombed-out building. As I saw images on the news of the destruction happening in cities I have walked through, I was devastated. When Dr. Brown called me at 5 p.m. on Monday, March 7th, to share with me that President Berman wanted our students to volunteer with the refugees as soon as possible, ideally the next week over Purim, I was overcome by emotion because we had the opportunity. Here was the opportunity for us to in fact help. We did not need to resign ourselves to watching updates on the news or on social media. I had been speaking with my husband Sam daily about the war, and he, being originally from Austria, had just shared with me that 500 Jewish refugees had recently arrived in Vienna. I called him while he was on the tarmac on his way to Israel, I might add, and said, please connect me with whomever you think I can speak to in both Poland and Austria. He immediately sent WhatsApp messages to his contacts, and overnight I checked my phone, awaiting a response. At that time, we were told there were no beds left for visitors in Poland, so Poland was not an option. That next morning, Tuesday, March 8th, the Secretary General of the IKG, Israelitische Kultusgemeinde, the Jewish Community Council of Vienna, the Secretary General, Benjamin Negele, replied he was available to speak with me. At 8:15 a.m., we met over Zoom. His eagerness to have our students come and volunteer was palpable through the screen. And so the planning of Operation Torat Chesed officially began. Within hours, I was connected to a hotel owner who volunteered her rooms to us at cost. My colleagues in the Student Life office, Rabbi Josh Weisberg, made sure we could actually book tickets for flights for that Sunday, and the mission became a reality. Benjamin and his colleagues shared with us that the Jewish community in Vienna had been sponsoring hotel rooms, meals, and all the necessary supplies for the refugees. Local community members were volunteering around the clock, but with Purim coming, they knew they needed extra volunteers. When we launched an application at 11 p.m. that night, we thought we would send 10 to 15 students. By the next morning, we had already had 50 applicants, and by Wednesday night, we had 124. Our team, Dr. Brown, Rabbi Josh Blass, Dr. Chaim Nissel, Rabbi Weisberg, and I met again late Wednesday night to discuss our plan of action. We would meet Thursday morning to review the applications, notify students by 12 p.m., have them confirm their participation by 4 p.m., and have an orientation with them at 9 p.m. And so it happened. We were literally working around the clock to ensure we could get the group to Vienna. And it was at that time that I was introduced to Terry and Andrew, who naturally were joining the mission. I was in regular contact with our colleagues in Vienna as they planned for our arrival, setting up COVID testing, getting the group set with meals, arranging for Shabbos hosts, and most importantly, organizing their volunteering. It all happened in 72 hours. I still have a hard time believing we actually pulled it together. Late Thursday night, when we met with the group, which ended up being 28 students, giving the overwhelming interest by our students to get involved, I shared the short list of Judaica items which we were told would be helpful to bring. Purim costumes, decorations, mezuzot, kippot, Russian Hebrew Sidurim. From Friday morning until the group departed on Sunday, the donations came in and they did not stop. Our group brought over 300 Purim costumes, thousands of kippot, dozens of Sidurim and mezuzot in their 60 duffel bags of donated items, which our student Meira Prager convinced Austrian Airlines to waive the fee for. Before our group departed, I was in touch with my cousin-in-law, Karen Konig, who worked for the Jewish Community Council as well. She shared with me that she had been tasked with overseeing all of the volunteer efforts. We both laughed as we realized our work was bringing us together. I then connected with Yoni Cohn, a lay leader in Vienna, who happens to also be the proud parent of 2 YU students. He told me he would help ensure things ran smoothly for our group. He became an integral part of the group's experience, dropping his own work to assist with our group's experience. When the group took off for Vienna, we knew they would be heading into an environment unlike anything they had ever experienced before. We knew that their schedules could change at any moment depending on whether the additional 500 refugees the community was expecting had arrived. We knew they may feel overwhelmed and see things which would take time to process, but we also knew that we had chosen an incredible group of resilient students who would make Yeshiva University proud and would use every ounce of energy they had to do whatever was asked of them to help the refugees. While I did not travel with the group, I received the most beautiful messages throughout the week from my husband's friends in Vienna, who shared how much of an impact our group was making. To quote Yoni Cohn, they were the psychological CPR no one realized they needed. Being able to organize logistics for the trip was my ability to do my small part in helping the refugees currently in Austria. I am so appreciative of President Berman and Dr. Brown for trusting me with this incredible responsibility, and to all of our partners and supporters for making it a reality. I would now like to invite to the stage Yeshiva College student Romy Hartstark, who will share about his personal experience in Vienna as a member of the group.